Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the AFC Vacations Travel Show. My name is Will Reese, and I'm the marketing representative for AFC Vacations. I'm joined today by one of our fabulous tour managers, Deb Howard, who will join in just a few minutes. Before my role in marketing, I worked as a tour manager for AFC and other tour operators for over a decade, from Costa Mesa to Costa Rica, and the Grand Canyon to the Grand Canal of Venice. We want to thank you for attending today's presentation, and we are so excited to see people getting back out there and exploring our beautiful country and other countries as well. It's been a long road back, but we are ready to roll, so let's get started. What does AFC mean? Affordable first class. In everything we do, we go above and beyond to make sure your experience is one you'll never forget. We provide great value and great service. Well, Randy Case started AFC in 1982, and we've been running strong for 39 years. There's a picture of Randy in the upper left corner, and below that is one with him and our president, Matt Kennel. Randy is starting to take a little bit of a step back in more of a consultant role, so Matt's done a great job in the transition working with them. But on the right-hand side, that is our first group in 1982 in the Canadian Rockies. And AFC has made a commitment to only travel when it's safe. When we take out trips, your safety will be our #1 priority. And a couple of components we've incorporated in your travel experience for the upcoming month or so are face masks on board the motor coach, and we are doing more social distancing as well. What's different in travel these days? Well, mask requirements are one, and as the CDC also has made adjustments, we too will do so as time goes on. But mask requirements are a component of air travel as well as transportation methods, and that includes our motor coach. Vendor temperature checks, they have those little handheld scanners at some of the vendors that we visit, so they'll do either a forehead or a wrist temperature check and let you on in. More cleaning has also been a part of the process of travel, whether it's at the airports or on the motor coach. Our motor coach companies that we contract do either a 12 or 24-point cleaning inspection, so you know the coach is clean and ready for you. More empty seats in airport terminals are also something we've seen. They've done much more in terms of social distancing there. And then many companies, including ours, have incorporated health surveys and waivers. So you'll get those in your tour documents a couple weeks ahead of your trip, and hand those to the tour director, tour manager before you get on board. Proof of vaccinations and or negative COVID tests, those occur in a couple of different locations at this time. They're being required by Yellowstone National Park as well as the Grand Canyon National Park, and then also in the state of Massachusetts if you're coming to visit there. So service involves people, and our folks are the best, whether it's Joe, Claudia, April, Delta, any of our team. We're here to make your vacation a fluid and smooth one. Our team works so hard to make sure your experience is the best it can be from the time you book your trip till you get back home. We're here for you. And at AFC, we were the first operator in California to offer the home pickup service. We pick you up from your home and take you to the airport, and then pick you back up at the airport once you arrive back home. Take you right to your door. After 25 years of doing it this way, we do it better than any other travel company. And we offer numerous ways to save on your vacations. Our biggest discount is the one in the middle, our early booking discount, which is offered on all of our tours. Be one of the first to sign up, and you can save between $50 and $350 per person. Now, many companies also charge a premium for single supplement rates, but at AFC, we look to save you money. Be one of the first 5 singles to book a trip and save 50% on your single supplement. And we do have our own air department. We're all about inclusive packages here at AFC. So round trip air with care. We have Dave, who handles a lot of our air arrangements, and he does a fantastic job working with us. If you have friends that want to join from another location in the US, we'll find a flight that works for them as well. And we pride ourselves on a variety of tours, both destinations and travel styles. So whether it's a classic tour on a motor coach to the national parks like Bryce Canyon, our European river cruises, a train trip, or a ocean cruise. A lot of different ways to get out there and explore. And if you've ever been on a tour before, you know that nothing's more important than food. So if you love food like I do, you'll truly enjoy the lobster dinner on our Cape Cod and coastal Maine trips, or New Orleans School of Cooking on either of our Louisiana-based tours. Breakfast is also a component that's included daily, along with a number of different dinners. And when you travel with AFC, you'll enjoy quality hotel, resort, or ship accommodations. Each one is selected for comfort, location, service, and amenities. So whether it's the Hilton Sedona, Grand Hotel Mackinac Island, or Doubletree Hyannis on the Cape, a lot of great opportunities to stay in fantastic properties. And with our peace of mind travel, cancellation and travel protection are extremely important before and during your vacation. We offer an affordable and flexible travel protection plan to protect your travel experience. We're also one of only 60 tour operators who are members of the USTOA, which is an elite group of the finest tour operators in the United States. This provides a $1 million traveler's assistance program. And we have a program called Guaranteed Departures. And on these trips, we have enough passengers to travel. So we're ready to roll on a lot of these different tours. So if you're ready to go now, we have trips going out July, August, and September, whether it's the Black Hills and Badlands of South Dakota, the Pacific Coast Adventure from Seattle to San Francisco, or our Cape Cod trip. We are ready to roll. And how do you book? Well, our reservations team is ready for you. You can either call our office or email joe@afctours.com. You can also visit us on our website, afcvacations.com. For this specific show, we do have a special code that you can use when you book, and that's Deb, DEB 100. So make sure you use that when you do book. And some of the specials for attendees today: if you book a new 2021 tour or cruise within 1 week of the show by next Friday, May 28th, we reduce the deposit from $350 down to $100. So I'm sure a lot of you have that in a piggy bank somewhere. But again, you must use the savings code DEB100. And if you book and pay for your travel protection plan with deposit, we'll take an additional $20 off per person. Now, we have a fantastic team of tour managers who travel with you all over the world. These folks are great storytellers and problem solvers, and they're also a lot of fun. They're all different in their personalities and how they do things, but they're all very knowledgeable in the areas they lead. So we have the privilege of one of our fabulous tour managers with us today. I'll talk a little bit about her in a second. Why do we travel? Well, there's a number of different reasons. A lot of them include memories and fun, but also getting to meet people from all over the country and getting to share those experiences. So where's your next AFC vacation going to be? And speaking of our favorite tour managers, we're thrilled today to have one of our top AFC tour managers with us, and Deb Howard. Deb's been off and running on trips already this year, and she's excited to tell you what trips she'll be doing as well. Deb, take it away.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Will. You know, I did just return from a Savannah and Charleston tour in April, and I am so excited to be on the road again. It was a terrific time. And I want to take this time to talk to you about some of the travel opportunities that are coming up this year, if in fact you're ready to travel. So we will start with some of our most memorable tours, our mystery tours. Both Chris and I have a number of tours this year. You'll see Chris's schedule posted on the slide here. And if you haven't taken one, you might wonder, how do they work? Well, you make a financial commitment to go to an unknown place. Sound unusual? Maybe. but they are hugely popular and they sell out almost every time. All right, how does this happen? You are told the average temperature of where you're going, what time you'll be picked up, and what airline to report to. Your ticket agent is the first one who will inform you of your destination city. Now, are you going to stay there? Maybe, maybe not. You might drive a bit of a distance to get to the ultimate place where you'll lay your head down for the night. And each day is new, and each tour director handles the experience differently. I often give some clues and let you try and guess where we're going, but you may not know from hour to hour where you actually are going. But if you have a sense of adventure, and if you're the type of person that lives well in the moment without having to know all of the details in advance, then these tours might be for you. We do like to be really creative with our mystery tour itineraries. We offer a lot of behind the scenes venues, factory tours. Actually, my all-time favorite venue was a toilet paper factory near Omaha, Nebraska, run by the sight impaired, except for the forklift drivers. Now, are you worried that the one you sign up for might go to a destination you have been to very often? You can give the office a list of places that you do not want to go to. And while they will not tell you where it's going, they will guide you away from that particular tour. So if this sounds intriguing, Chris and I would love to see you on one of these trips this year. So let's move on. I'm going to start a little bit of an armchair travel experience by starting at the easternmost state on the East Coast. This is the state of Maine. This is where dawn first breaks on the U.S. This Coastal Maine Lighthouses and Landscapes tour is a newly designed tour for us, and I'm really fortunate. I get to lead it. Maine is a place that is very near and dear to my heart. I have a family compound that's been in my family for over 120 years. It's got 4 consecutive family cottages on a Maine tidal river. I've spent many summers there, and as a matter of fact, Bill and I just got back from a weekend up there last week. There's one phrase that really resonates with me and truly describes Maine, and I'm going to spend a few extra moments talking about this tour because it is new. That phrase is where the granite meets the sea. Craggy shorelines and peninsulas, granite rocks and boulders, green pine trees, lobster boats, lobster pots, islands with birds and seals, they all make up for a really rugged coastline. We're going to see a fraction of the coastline, but we are going to take you to some of the most charming coastal towns. So lighthouses have dotted the landscape for years. They've alerted the seafaring captains and current boaters of nautical hazards. And this tour gives us a chance to see lighthouses both by water and by land. We've got 2 boat rides. We have one, a tour of Casco Bay, where you'll see multiple lighthouses. And then another one is on board a boat where a local lobsterman takes us out for a hands-on experience. All right, that beautiful water that you see there, no warm and sandy beaches here. Cold waters are the secret and make for that prized, sweet-tasting lobster that everyone talks about. All right, we have a lobster bake in the middle of this tour, okay? And it's nice because if you really like lobster, then you get a chance to have it a few more times before the end of the tour. Now, do we bake the lobster? No. Very often I've heard that in California and in Texas, you get a nice platter full of lobster that has been taken out of its shell and presented to you. Is that the way we do it in New England? No. You can see by this picture, you get a bib, you get picks, you get crackers, and you pick away and enjoy your meal. Now, a lot of people don't quite know how to do it, so that's where I come in, and I'll show you how. And once you've accomplished eating more than one bite, because you've picked it yourself, you get the title of maniac. You'll enjoy it. All right. We have one day on this tour that is a free day, but it takes you to a place that is fabulous. It's Coastal Botanical Gardens. It's an optional tour, all right? And this is truly where the granite and the gardens meet the sea. I did this tour a couple of years ago, and I had a master gardener on the tour. And she said to me she had never heard of Coastal Botanical Gardens. However, in her opinion, it rivaled Butchart Gardens. And I thought that was a terrific recommendation. So if you take this, please do consider going on that optional tour. All right, then we'll take one day and we will head inland. And we will take a ride out to the White Mountains of New Hampshire. We will take a scenic railroad trip. Hopefully we'll have some nice fall foliage as you see here, all right? We'll come back by coach and we'll stop at a maple sugar house. Did you know, you probably bought maple syrup and wonder why it's so expensive. It takes 40 gallons of sap water to make 1 gallon of syrup. Alrighty, let's move on to our next tour. We're going to continue south to join the Cape Cod and the islands. Now, folks, this is number 1 of my top 5 favorite tours. Why is that? Probably because it's in my backyard. All right, and I am most familiar with it. We do go into Boston. We have a Boston City tour, but we leave Boston and we head to Plymouth. You can see it on the map. Plymouth is where the Pilgrims first settled their little settlement. All right, now that's not where they first landed. They landed in Provincetown. That is on the end of the Cape. You can see that there. We do go out to Provincetown, but they first found just the right water supply in Plymouth. And there is a wonderful Plymouth Plantation, which is a recreation with Native Americans and Englishers and showing us how they lived. We also will go and see the replica of the Mayflower 2. You see that in the lower left picture, all right? And then we spend 2 days going to each of the 2 infamous islands, Martha's Vineyard for one day and Nantucket for the other. There's a tremendous competition between the 2 as to who's the better island, who's the fancier, who's the most relaxing, etc. You get to decide for yourself. And then the final day, we go out to Newport, and this is where my home state is, Rhode Island. And this is where the rusticators, these were the wealthy people who lived in the cities of Boston and New York and New Jersey, and it would be hot and humid during the summer, and they would be looking for a place to get out of that atmosphere and get to where the cool breezes would be comfortable. And then they would stay, and they'd stay for a period of time, and they built cottages. And we will go see one of those cottages, the Breakers. And we'll have a farewell dinner. So that's a great tour. Please join me. All right, let's move even further south on this armchair tour to the Brandywine and the Poconos tour. Now, this tour flies us into Philadelphia, all right? And what's particularly nice is on the first day of this tour, generally, we go to Longwood Gardens. Longwood Gardens were designed by Pierre Dupont. He traveled all over Europe. He got great ideas, and he brought them back and designed them. They have these incredible newly refurbished water fountain shows. Several times a day, several different shows, and several different fountains. So that's a fun place to be. In the afternoon, we go out to Nemours Mansion. That is where Alfred Dupont's mansion is, and we do take a tour through that. All right, we will also take a day and go to Hershey. Oh, sorry. Well, first, we're going to go to Philadelphia, all right? And we see everything Philadelphia. We see the Liberty Bell, we see Independence Hall, National Constitution, and we have a city tour. Then we go out to Hershey. Hershey, we will do something related to chocolate, and we will eat chocolate. We might make it, but it's a wonderful experience. That afternoon, we will go out to the Amish country. Lancaster. We'll have a guide take us through that area. We'll stop at farms, Amish farms, where you do get a chance to pick up some Amish goods. And if you just want to see those incredible quilts, you'll see them there. All right, then we move to the Pocono Mountains. Hopefully the leaves will be turning. You see, we go in October, just like that picture is shown. Many of you from California and Texas will call these mountains molehills, but we in the East Coast refer to them as the mountains. And once again, this is where the rusticators would go and enjoy cool air. And we stay at Shawnee Inn, which is where they went. It's a refurbished hotel. Fred Waring had his orchestra there. We will take a day and go to Jim Thorpe. Now, this is probably a town you're not familiar with. It's not its original name. It's a coal mining town that was called Mauch Chunk, and it was renamed Jim Thorpe. I'll leave you in suspense until you take the tour to tell you why. This tour is very popular. We have actually added a coach, and my good friend and colleague, Chuck Denny, will be operating along with me. So we'll have an awful lot of fun doing that. All right, let's move on, but we're not going to leave the state yet. We're going to go to Pittsburgh. That's in the western part of Pennsylvania. And we're going to stay all 4 nights, 5 days, unpack once in Pittsburgh. We're going to learn everything about it. You're going to have a city tour. You're going to go to homes and gardens and museums. You can see the list of museums there. But the highlight of this tour is Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water. This is supposed to be his greatest residential design. And you can see in that top right corner that it has been designed to fit perfectly in the natural landscape. My understanding is that even the furniture in the house was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. And we'll conclude by a tour of that beautiful Tudor mansion that you see in the lower picture, Heartwood Acres Mansion. So I might add that this was originally a mystery tour, and sometimes when mystery tours are really successful, we add them to our list, and that is the case with this tour. Okay, let's move on. We're now going to head to America's music cities and hear many different genres of music. We start out in St. Louis. Yes, we get a city tour. We will see the Arch, and then we'll make our way to Branson. And look how many shows we get to see in Branson. There's 3 listed there, all right? Then we board a showboat, the Branson Belle. We have a dinner cruise, and we see a show. And that's before we head out to Arkansas, to Little Rock. And you'll be able to add another presidential library to your list that you visited. We'll see the Bill Clinton Library. Then we make our way to Memphis, right? Memphis is the home of rock and roll and blues, and we'll have a great dinner on Beale Street, which is known for its music. It's also known for Elvis Presley's home, Graceland, and we will take a tour of Graceland. And that's before we are going to go to Nashville and hear our final genre of music, country music. We'll have a city tour, we'll see the Country Music Hall of Fame, and we go to the Grand Ole Opry. Now, one of the fun things about the Grand Ole Opry is that, yes, they have a schedule, so we'll know who's going to be the headliner that night. But the fun thing is that they always have, not always, they often have someone just show up as a surprise entertainer. And I'm hoping for Keith Urban. Alrighty, let's continue in Tennessee for a moment and jump up to holiday time. What a way to get into the holiday spirit. We're going to the Smoky Mountains and Pigeon Forge Holiday Tour. just before Christmas. You see December 5. Pigeon Forge is the home of Dolly Parton's Dollywood and her Stampede Theater. And the theater is decorated for Christmas. We will see a Christmas show. In fact, we will see another Christmas show in Pigeon Forge. We will take a day and go out to Western North Carolina. We will go to the Biltmore Estate. This was built by one of the Vanderbilt boys. I'll tell you about that. Then we come back and we have a day where you're going to get a chance, I hope, to see why it's called the Great Smoky Mountains. We'll be taking an aerial tramway up from the town of Gatlinburg up into the mountains and kind of up into the clouds. That gives you a hint. When we come back down, we will have a chance to do some moonshine tasting. I had no idea. There's about 30 different flavors of moonshine, and it's great fun. Let's see, we have on our final day, we have a visit to the Titanic Museum. This is where there's a lot of artifacts from the Titanic. You are actually given a passport, and that passport has information about one of the travelers on the Titanic. And at the end of the tour, you find out whether or not that passenger survived. But this is a tour that gives you some free time for shopping in Pigeon Forge, some free time in Gatlinburg. You can get early Christmas shopping and truly get in the spirit. Okay, let's move on our armchair travel experience to the state of Georgia and pick up Georgia on my mind. We're going to fly into Atlanta, and again, this is going to be a unpack once. We're going to do everything about Atlanta. We have a city tour. We're going to have a great meal at Mary Mac's Tea Room. We're going to go to the headquarters of CNN, and we're going to go to the World of Coca-Cola. A fun thing about that World of Coca-Cola is that the recipe for Coca-Cola is a heavily guarded secret. It's in the vault. We get to see the vault. We don't see the recipe. All right, but it's fun. Then you get to add another presidential library. Jimmy Carter's library is in Atlanta, so we'll see that. We'll take a day and go out to Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain is where they have the carving of the Confederate soldiers. All right, we'll take a sky ride up to the top of the mountain, have time to get off, and come on back down. FDR thought that maybe the warm springs of the waters in Warm Springs would be helpful with his polio. And he frequented Warm Springs, Georgia quite a bit. And we will go tour his little White House. And that should be a great opportunity to have a good little tour. Okay, let's go on to one of my all-time favorite cities, New Orleans. We're going to have the New Orleans and the Mississippi Gulf Coast tour. We start in New Orleans. We get to stay in the French Quarter. This is highly unusual. It is very difficult for buses to get in and out of the quarter, but we get to stay there. All right. We will have a walking tour of the quarter to familiarize ourselves. We will actually walk to Café du Monde. We'll have the beignets and the lattes. Don't wear black on that day. You'll get sugar all over. That afternoon, we will take a steamboat cruise and go up and down a little bit of the Mississippi River. Now, you can't see everything by walking, so we will board the coach and we will have a city tour of New Orleans. We'll go to the Garden District. We will go see those above ground cemeteries. And in the afternoon, we'll go to Mardi Gras World. Now, Mardi Gras World is where they make and store the floats that were in the Mardi Gras parade. So we may not see the parade, but we will be able to see all the floats up close. Great opportunity. Then we leave New Orleans. We head out to Biloxi, Mississippi. We will be staying in a very nice casino. Bring your money. All right. We'll take a day and we'll go out to Alabama, to Mobile. We'll go to Bellingrath Gardens. This is where the Bellingrath couple. They were a wealthy couple who were Coca-Cola bottlers. And we'll see their gardens and their home. And we'll see a little bit of Mobile while we're there. And then we'll come back and explore the seashore and the Gulf Island area. A lot of the industry in Biloxi is related to the maritime industry and the seafood industry. We will go to a museum, learn all about that, and then take a shrimp boat cruise and see how they actually harvest the shrimp. So that will be a great little trip too. All right, now we're going to move on. And we move on to Niagara Falls and the Grand Hotel. This is actually the second of my all-time top 5. And we will fly into Detroit. We will spend the day by touring the River Rouge truck plant. This is where they make the F-150 trucks in the automated platform. And we actually see that happening as we're there. And then we go to the Henry Ford Museum in Greenfield Village. Henry Ford was a big collector of a lot of well-known historical artifacts. And his museum has the bus that Rosa Parks was forced to go to the back. He has the chair that Lincoln was assassinated in, and many, many other old automobiles, as you see. And so we'll have fun seeing that. And that's all before we head to Mackinac Island. All right. Now, Mackinac is an island that does not allow trucks or buses or cars. All right. And so we will be picked up by a horse-drawn carriage. Now, in October, it can be cold, so bring your woolies. We're going to be picked up, rain, snow, sleet, whatever. All right. And we will be taken up that hill. Look in the top right picture, and you'll see we go to the Grand Hotel. Now, one of the great things about AFC is they give us 2 nights at the Grand Hotel. This is a rare opportunity. It has an outstanding dining room. All right, gentlemen, you must wear coats and ties here. All right. The good thing about this is when you look at that menu and you see this fabulous food, if you can't decide what to have, you know you have a second night because you get a second night of that same food. All right, you then can spend your evening by dancing up on the second floor. They have big band music, or you can have a glass of sherry or a cup of tea and listen to them play a harp. It's absolutely wonderful. Next morning, we have a tour via a horse-drawn carriage. All right, they'll take us then. We'll leave Mackinac Island. We will go to Frankenmuth. It's a little Bavarian town, most known for its Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. And this is a store that is at least twice the size of Costco's, all right, all with Christmas ornaments. So you will be, I'm sure, inspired to pick some things up there. All right, we leave Frankenmuth and we go across the Canadian border, and now we're headed out to Niagara Falls, where we are going to do everything related to the falls. We will don those ponchos and go under the falls and feel the power of the water. All right. We will do, my favorite thing is the Whirlpool Rapids, and this is where you actually walk alongside the Niagara River and you feel the power of the rapids. All right. It's a great experience. Just before we leave, we cross the border, all right, and then we pick up the Maid of the Mist and go to the base of the falls. It's a terrific tour. Please note that it is so popular that they have added, it looks to me like a 3rd date. I think my colleague and friend Pat Conway is doing the 14th, and so that this is really big, so you can see they've added some time. Better jump on that one. All right, the final tour that I'm going to talk about is Idaho Adventure. Truth be told, this is the 3rd of my top 5 favorites. Now, when my family heard that I was going to Idaho, they said, "What on earth is in Idaho besides potatoes?" I actually didn't know, all right? I did do my homework, and boy, was I surprised. These pictures do justice to the experience. We fly into Coeur d'Alene, all right? Look in the top right picture, and you'll see that's Coeur d'Alene Lake. We stay in that hotel. One fun little thing about that hotel is that they give us a remote control device, and sitting from your bed in the morning, you press the remote control, and the curtains open, and you look at that lake in front of you. I do it at least 2 or 3 times. It's really fun. We will then go out to Wallace, little town. It's a silver mine town. We will go into the silver mine. We'll have a tour there. That evening, we go to the Ryder Ranch. We'll have a family-style ranch dinner. And then we make our way to Riggins, Idaho. Now, that's a very different sort of experience. The picture in the bottom left, it would be in Riggins. This is the confluence of the Salmon and Little Salmon River. And we stay in a hotel right on the river. You wake up in the morning and you see the fly fishermen out. It's a charming place, has a nice patio for having a glass of wine. It's a super spot. We will take a day and we will drive down the mountain to the Snake River. And we'll pick up a jet boat, which is a boat like what you see in the right side of the screen. And we'll go up and down the Snake. I hope we get to see osprey and bald eagles and look for lots of wildlife. When we leave Riggins, we're heading to Sun Valley, but we're going through the Sawtooth Mountains. And you know, I have seen every type of weather. I've seen rain, snow, sleet, sunshine. And you come out in the valley and it's usually sunshine and it's just lovely. That whole trip is an adventure. We'll stay at either the Sun Valley Inn or the Sun Valley Lodge, and we will be in Ketchum. Nice little town. Ketchum is where Ernest Hemingway actually took his life, and we go to his graveside. There's always a bottle of Jack Daniels on his graveside, I've noticed. But that is a wonderful tour. I truly suggest it. This is, you can see, Chris is doing this tour. I think he's doing it twice. It is sold out in June, so hop on it in September and you will not be disappointed. So folks, this concludes my section of the travel adventure, our armchair travel. And I thank you for your time, and I really hope that if you are ready to go out and travel, that we will see you this year. So I'm going to turn it over to Will.
Well, thank you so much. And I know a lot of you have logged in to listen to Deb, but you'll have to sit through a little bit of my talk as well. I was a tour manager for over 10 years and got to do a lot of the west portion of the U.S. as well as Europe. So I do have some background in this area. Great Trains and Grand Canyons is one of my favorite trips, and this is a 6-day, 5-night program. It's unpack once, so you stay at one hotel in Sedona, Arizona. We include the Sedona Trolley Tour, which is one of the most popular things to do there, and that includes the Chapel of the Holy Cross, which you can see in the upper right-hand corner. One of the other tour components that is very popular on this is the Grand Canyon Railway up to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. We'll stop at Bright Angel Lodge, and you'll get a few hours to explore the south rim of the canyon. It is a beautiful sight to see, and one on many people's bucket list. Then we also do a second train experience, which is the Verde Canyon Railroad. And verde in Spanish means green. This is one of the only green, lush areas of Arizona as a state. We have a first-class car with wonderful amenities, and then an outside car as well. So you can get up, go out and explore and get a little bit of breeze in your face. And we also incorporate Jerome, which is an Old West mining town, as well as the Montezuma's Castle National Monument. And that's a pueblo up in the cliff side, so it's a cliff dwelling. Then we also visit Old Town Scottsdale on this trip, and this is one of our top sellers, so make sure you jump on it. Our June 13th date is pretty much sold out, but we have several fall dates that you can look at. And the Waterways in Northwest National Parks is one that's special to my heart. This is my backyard in Seattle. So we'll fly in and out of Seattle and head down to Tacoma for 2 nights. And Tacoma was actually originally going to be a larger city than Seattle up until the gold rush. Tacoma was actually the hub of the Great North Railroad. It was the far west point of that. And then when the gold rush occurred, Seattle took over and was the major hub for the boats coming in. But from Tacoma, we'll go out to the Northwest Trek and Wildlife Park. That's where a number of local Western Washington species of animals are located, as well as some that are under protective care. And then we'll head up to Mount Rainier, one of the tallest mountains in the Cascades. And that's where we'll visit Paradise Lodge, which is at the base of the mountain. Also get to see a number of the waterfalls that are trickling off the mountain during that summertime. So we do have one date, which is July 16th, and that's with Deb. We'll go from Tacoma up to the Olympic National Park, and that's home of the Hoh Rainforest. And you can see that photo of the lush forests in the Hoh Rainforest. They get a ton of rain. Seattle's truly one of the rainiest cities, but it happens throughout the year. But July is one of the best times to visit Washington because that's when it starts warming up into the 80s or 90s in some cases. So we'll visit Hurricane Ridge Visitor Center, and then one of my favorite components, which is the whale watching cruise up into the San Juan Islands. So the San Juans are right next to the border of Canada, so up a little further north. And we go between San Juan Island and Lopez, and that's where you get to see a lot of the orca whales that travel between that area and the Puget Sound. Then we'll work our way back to Seattle for 2 nights and get to do a city tour, including Pike Place Market, before flying back home. So this is a great trip. Again, only one departure in July. And the Colorado Rails and National Parks. This is a fantastic trip if you're a big rail fan because we have 2 rail experiences. We'll fly in and out of Denver, heading out to Vail, which is a famous ski resort area. Then we'll work our way continuing west to Grand Junction for 2 nights, and that'll be our hub for 2 parks, which is Arches in Utah and Canyonlands. From Grand Junction, we'll go down to Silverton and do the Durango and Silverton Railroad, and then 2 nights in Durango. We'll head out to Mesa Verde, and then continue east to the Great Sand Dunes, which is a fantastic park. We'll head up north towards Colorado Springs and do the Royal Gorge Railway. Before we do the Olympic Center, which is home to the winter sports athletes training for the U.S. Olympics. We'll also see the Air Force Academy and Garden of the Gods, and then do a chuck wagon supper and Western Stage Show. So this is a summer trip. We have July, August, and September departures. So if you're in one of those real warm climates like San Diego or Texas and it gets real hot during the summer, this is a great trip to get out of that and into the Colorado Rockies. Our Ultimate Canyonlands trip is a fantastic national parks and state parks trip because we incorporate 6 national parks as well as 6 state parks. So a lot to see and do around Utah, Arizona. So we'll fly in and out of Las Vegas. This is a 9-day tour. We'll head up to Zion National Park, home of that sandstone. And from Zion, continue up to Escalante for a night, visit Capitol Reef, and then 2 nights in Moab. And from Moab, we'll go out to Arches and Canyonlands. Then we'll head south into Monument Valley, spend 1 night in Kayenta, and then on our way to the west back towards Las Vegas, we'll do a Lake Powell cruise as well as visit to the Glen Canyon Dam. We'll do a trip out to the north rim of the Grand Canyon and then fly out of Las Vegas. So this is a fantastic trip for all those parks in the Southwest. Our New Mexico Balloon Fiesta Tour is 6 days, 5 nights. We'll split that between Santa Fe and Albuquerque, but we'll fly in and out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and get a chance to see the famous Balloon Fiesta. And you'll see it in 2 different lights. One fairly early in the morning with the mass ascension, the sun rising over the hills as these balloons get filled with air and start taking off. That's a fantastic way to see it. And then we bring you back in the evening and you get a chance to see the balloon glow as the sun's coming down and these balloons are taking off a little bit later at night. We'll do 3 different tours, Santa Fe, Taos, and Albuquerque, and incorporate the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. We'll also visit the Bradbury Science Museum and take the high road to Taos, which is a famous scenic drive. So this is a great trip, 1 time a year, October 8th. We do have a little bit of space left, but that goes quick because it is a big festival. And the Black Hills and Badlands Tour, which happens during the summer, we have 2 departure dates, which are July and August. It's a 7-day tour with 1 hotel. So unpack once in Rapid City. We stay at the Holiday Inn Rushmore Plaza, which is right downtown Rapid City, only a 10-minute walk from a lot of the activities. We go out to Mount Rushmore, that famous mountain with all the presidents carved in. And we see it in two different lights, just like the balloon fiesta. We'll see it in the daytime, and then we'll come back at night for the night illumination ceremony. It's a great time where it's all dark except for the walkways. You sit down into a stadium setting, and then they shine the light on the monument itself. So 2 times to Mount Rushmore. Then we'll visit Crazy Horse Memorial, which is a memorial to the Sioux chief that defeated Custer in Custer's last stand. We'll visit Badlands National Park, as well as Devil's Tower, which is the monolith out to the west. We'll stop in Deadwood, which is home of the famous Wild West shootouts, and then take a stop to Fort Hays, which is the scene for a number of scenes in Dancing with Wolves. We'll take the 1880 steam train out through the Black Hills, and then also visit the Black Hills Gold Factory and Journey Museum. So make sure you jump on this. As you can see, our June departure is already sold out, but July and August are still available. And Yellowstone and Mount Rushmore. This is a great trip with 1 departure left in August 19th. 8 days where we fly into Rapid City and out of Salt Lake. So 2 nights on arrival in Rapid City, where we'll also see Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse. We'll head up to Deadwood for the Wild West shootouts, then over to Devil's Tower and continue west into Sheridan. And Sheridan's actually home of where Buffalo Bill Cody started his Western show. From Sheridan, we'll head out to Cody, named after the man himself, to visit his Western Museum. And this museum is a fantastic display of not only art, but also history and many components of the West. From Cody, we'll enter the eastern part of Yellowstone National Park. And this is one of my favorite areas as you're working your way into the park. A lot of great campsites and beautiful scenery as we work our way to the west. We'll stay 2 nights in Yellowstone and do a loop tour around the southern rim of the park before heading down to Jackson Hole. And en route to Jackson Hole, we'll stop at the Grand Tetons National Park. We'll end the tour with the Salt Lake City tour, where you get to see the Mormon Tabernacle, and then fly out. So this is a great tour, 8 days, 7 nights. And Magnolia Trails in the heart of Texas. This is a brand new pop-up tour that we just created, similar to Coastal Maine. But this is 5 days and 4 nights where you'll fly in and out of Dallas-Fort Worth. We'll start with a Dallas City tour. That includes the AT&T Stadium, which is the home of the Cowboys. And there you'll get a chance to go on the field. You'll have field access, as well as the tour of the press box and several other components of the stadium itself. So that's quite a unique experience there. Then we'll see some of the historic JFK sites before visiting another presidential library, that of George W. Bush. Then we get to do the Fort Worth Stockyards and Historic District, as well as a cattle drive viewing. We'll head down to Waco and do a city tour down there, as well as a visit to the Silos Baking Company, which is famous for its pastries. We'll do a tour of Dr. Pepper as well, the museum down there. This is a tour that only happens twice this year, October 24th and November 7th, so it's going fast. Make sure you jump on that. And some of our most popular tours are right before the holidays. We take care of that before the holidays so that you don't miss time with your family. But we have several departures in November 30th, whether it's the Savannah and Charleston tour, New Orleans holiday, or San Antonio. We also have a river cruise, and river cruising is starting to open up as of July, so I'll talk a little bit about that, but the Switzerland and Christmas markets of the Rhine. And whether it's Sedona Holiday, Smoky Mountains, and Pigeon Forge, like Deb talked about, or New Orleans Holiday, we have a lot of different trips to offer. And in regards to international departures, as things start to open up and things are changing, we too are updating our trips that are available to you. And so we'll talk quite a bit about that, but things are adjusting, and the EU has recently come out saying that they plan to open things up by this summer. So the European Union and countries in Europe will be soon to open. Some of the ones that are open, one is Athens and the Greek Isles. And Greece is now taking vaccinated U.S. travelers. This is a 9-day tour, October 12th, so just one date. We're flying in and out of Athens. and do an Athens city tour, which incorporates the Acropolis Museum and the Parthenon, as well as the ancient Olympic Stadium. Then we get a chance to take a ferry out into the islands. It's a high-speed ferry, and stay for 2 nights in Mykonos. One of those days, we'll go out to the island of Delos. We'll take another ferry. So 4 ferries in all, which is a great way to see the islands, and do a walking tour of Delos. Then we'll head to Santorini for 2 nights. And during one of those days, we'll do a Santorini wine tour and tasting. We'll head back into Athens. And for those who want to continue to explore Greece, we have an optional extension for 3 nights to Kalambaka and Delphi. So great way to see the north. Our Iceland Explorer is a fantastic trip. Iceland's one of the most popular destinations in recent years. And now that things are opening back up, they too are allowing vaccinated US travelers. So this is a 7-day trip, 8 meals included, and we have 2 departures this fall, September 15th and October 6th. This is, again, another Unpack Once tour. So for those that like the one hotel stays, you don't have to move around much. You just unpack your suitcase and relax. So 5 nights in Reykjavik. We'll do a Golden Circle tour, which is the southern portion of Iceland, as well as a visit to the Folk Museum. And on that circle tour, you'll see a number of different waterfalls as well as volcanic activity. We'll do a visit to the Viking Ship Museum, and this is a fantastic tour for those who really want to get out and start exploring different areas. Our Passion Play with Bavarian Austria. This was originally scheduled for 2020 along with the Passion Play, which is the story of Jesus Christ. And they pushed it back once the pandemic occurred to 2022, which was smart because they haven't opened quite yet, but they will be soon. So Germany's opening up pretty soon as well. We'll fly into Munich for 2 nights and do the Munich city tour. We have a trip out to Neuschwanstein Castle where we'll do a photo stop there before heading to Oberammergau. We'll stay for a night in the Oberammergau area and visit the Passion Play. So we do have reserved seats for the play itself, which is a half-day experience, including dinner. Then we'll head east to Salzburg and do a Salzburg city tour. Now, the Salzburg area is famous for the Sound of Music, and we'll visit Mondsee, which is one of the Sound of Music sites. We'll continue to the east and do a Danube cruise, a portion of the Danube, before entering into Vienna. And we'll stay 3 nights in Vienna and do a Vienna city tour as well as an optional to the Schönbrunn Palace. And then we also have an optional extension, which is 2 nights to Prague, one of my favorite cities in the Czech Republic. So this will happen next year, 2022, July, August, and September. And one of our best-selling trips are European river cruises. And in July, they're expecting the rivers to be open to these cruises and passengers to start coming in from overseas, including the US. So one of our upcoming trips is November 30th. We've already had passengers sign up for it, and we're going on the Rhine River this time. We'll fly into Zurich, Switzerland, and then head down to Lucerne for a night. And Lucerne, you can see in the bottom left corner, you have the beautiful Lake Lucerne. City in the background, and the backdrop are the mountains, the Alps, which is absolutely gorgeous. So we'll do a walking tour in Lucerne. Then we'll drive up to Strasbourg, and that's where we join the ship. Now we'll have 6 nights on board the new MS Imperial. It was built in 2020, so practically not even used yet. From Strasbourg, we'll do a tour of the town, including the cathedral, and then visit the Christmas market, which is right outside the cathedral in the main square. And Strasbourg actually has several Christmas markets, as most of these cities do, so you'll have some time to explore. We'll go up to Speyer, which is truly a hidden gem. When I got there a couple of years ago, I was just taken aback, not only by their cathedral, but also by the charm of the town. So we'll do a walking tour there, as well as the Christmas market, and then head to Koblenz. And same thing, walking tour and Christmas market. So 6 Christmas market experiences in all. Cochem, which is a beautiful town on a side shoot of one of the rivers. And above there is a famous castle that you'll also get a chance to tour. Then we'll head to Cologne and do a tour of the city of Cologne, including the famous cathedral, and a Christmas market there as well before we head home out of Frankfurt. So Switzerland and the Christmas markets of the Rhine happens November 30th of this year. Make sure you sign up. And our next river cruise, Normandy, Paris, and the Seine. So this is actually going to be offered twice in 2022, April as well as October. And we'll start by flying in to Paris. We'll do a Paris city tour before we join the ship. And we'll have 7 nights on board the Amadeus Diamond, which was recently renovated in 2019. Now on our river cruises coming up, we have regional wines and beer included with all onboard dinners. We will also have Wi-Fi included going forward. We'll do a historic Normandy tour. So as we work our way out to the coastline, we'll dock in Le Havre and then drive out to the Normandy coast, where we get to see Omaha Beach, as well as the American Cemetery, which is a really moving sight to see. We'll have lunch and then head back to the ship. But a lot of different sites throughout France that we'll make our way to. And then we'll have an optional 2-night extension to London available, and we'll take the Eurostar train. So that's a great trip to do. So again, some of the show specials I wanted to cover again. Book a new 2021 tour or cruise within 1 week of the show. And next Friday, May 28th, we'll reduce that deposit from $350 to $100 low-risk deposit. But again, you must use the savings code DEB100. And then if you book and pay for your travel protection plan with deposit, we'll take an additional $20 off. So give us a call at our office. You can also email Joe at afctours.com, or visit us on our website. Make sure you use that savings code. And let's get out there and travel. It's time. We're ready to roll, and we hope you are too. So on behalf of myself and Deb, we want to thank you for attending. Please, if you have any questions, email them to april@afctours.com. And Deb, if you want to say goodbye to the folks.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and we surely hope that we see you this coming year. It's very exciting. Thanks again.
Thank you all, and have a great day.